Yo, it's D.Arthur in the building. I'm talking to you guys today about why you'll start subconsciously attracting people, opportunities, situations, fulfilling relationships, women. If you go on retention and you start doing things in a certain way, because the thing is, like, if you look at life from let's say maybe a different perspective, your actions and behaviors may change, and over the long run, this pretty much can help you transcend your life into something that you're pretty proud of. Because the thing is, a lot of people go through the motions Monday through Friday, then the weekend, and then they're off doing the same thing Monday through Friday. They're basically living their life on a straight line, doing the same thing every single week. But the thing is, if you were to switch your perspective on life and you start looking at life more of a, let's say, instead of looking at life as at horizontal, you start looking at it from a vertical, diagonal type of way. You start looking at life from a vertical type of way, meaning you start realizing that instead of just like going through the motions and doing the same thing every single week and not really getting anywhere, maybe being on a hamster wheel, what you start realizing, what if I start living my life where I start living my life from a trajectory where I'm doing some things intentionally and purposefully, so at a later date, maybe a certain time, I'm at this point in my life. And this is pretty much the difference between very successful people and let's say average people. Because the very successful people, they plan out their days. They plan out their days. They start realizing that if I just you're gonna get ahead. You're gonna be more ahead of people, you're gonna be ahead in, not even people. You're gonna be ahead in life if you start planning out your days and you start doing things on purpose. You start doing things from a purposeful stand for where you're doing a game plan. You're writing things out to do a game plan so you can achieve set goal, set thing at a specific time. Because a lot of people are not intentional. They just live their life. They're going through the motions. They don't have any deadlines. They don't have any purpose. They're just doing the same thing. The same 5 years, they're at the same place. The same 10 years, they're at the same place because they're doing the same thing. They're not looking their life where it could really. They're not using time to their advantage. Because the thing, there's this book called The Slight Edge, and it's this book where it basically says that if you do specific things consistently over time, there's going to be some sort of compound effect where your results are going to start compounding, and you're just going to get a lot. You're just going to get an abundance of really good results that you want to do you're just gonna get very good results over a course of time if you do things specifically. But the people who like to sometimes do things and sometimes don't do things, they're gonna basically stay the same way. And when you go on, let's say, when you go on no fat, when you go on semen retention, you start realizing like your life like this, you're just gonna be a lot more productive. You're gonna set goals and you're gonna hit them. You're gonna set goals, you're gonna hit them. You're gonna hit PRs. You're gonna the way you think starts to change. Because if your reality is a direct reflection on how you think, if you start to focus yourself on, let's say, the best, you will tend to become the best. You will tend to become a person who is purposeful and is basically willing to do everything to achieve maybe a financial state, a relationship state. He's willing to go through the trenches to get the things that he truly desires. This society is built on instant gratification. They have to have it now. Everybody has to have things now. Like an example was, I was just at a traffic stop, and there was this guy who was trying to go into the left lane. And the thing is, he was trying to go into the left lane. she's trying to change lanes, and he was basically holding up traffic because he was stopping kind of in the middle of traffic trying to change lanes. And then he started to back up so he could get into that lane. And then I basically told him to motion over, where like to go up ahead in traffic, and then somebody hopefully would let you in so he can make that lane switch. And this is just an example of how, like, I guess, and we're not throwing any shade at anybody. We're just saying, we're just making an example of how if you think of one way to do things and it may not work, and you're still thinking of one way to do things, it would be better to increase, let's say, your awareness, increase the possibilities, and look at life from a different angle, so maybe a solution may work. And the thing is, semen retention helps you start realizing this perspective, because because the thing is about, let's say, even attraction and everything like that, because you guys like to listen to about attraction, is that what you're doing when you go on, what you're saying, what you're admitting out into the world, because everybody is a product, and they're basically telling what you're, let's say, because the first thing anybody knows is your physical appearance, and then the vibe and the energy that you give off. If your vibe and energy is very high and you have high energy, you're admitting high energy people into your life. You're subconsciously saying that you're a very valuable option. And then women tend to change the way their behavior to you when you're emitting said type of energy. If you're very dull, mundane, bleak, you're gonna probably get the worst out of them. You're not gonna get the best out of them. You're not gonna get the submission that you really want. You're gonna be more looked as a friend, instead of a lover. And like I said, I can't preach how semen retention really helps your life transcend. It really helps your life transcend into something very beautiful and magnificent if you allow it. Because people are too focused on how things will not work. They're too focused on how things are just not going to work. They're too focused on all of the failures. Your focus is not in the right space. They're so defensive about staying the same. They're passionate about staying the same. But the few people who start realizing that no one is really looking out for you, and you really have to go get it on your own, and are very, let's say, intentional about what they're doing every single day, usually are the ones who are getting really what they want. Because a lot of people in general, they do things just to do things. They do things just to do it. If there's no return on investment, it would probably be, in your best opinion, a best option just not to do it. Because people like to do things just to do it, just to feel a certain way for a specific amount of time. They're never looking at the long run. Like I said, this society is built off instant gratification. They need to go on vacation right now. And the thing, let's say, with the vacation is, the term of vacation is you're vacating. It's a term where you're vacating your life, because you have to, let's say, go back to work. You get 2 weeks of unpaid work. But what if you started looking at your life like, if I put some sort of effort into, maybe, let's say, something that a product or service that I could give to the marketplace, and if it's good enough, I could get paid for what I'm basically giving to the marketplace, the service rendered. Maybe in the long run, I wouldn't have to vacate from my life, because your life is already good. So, I mean, when you go on semen retention, like I said, perspective shifts. And like I said, people that you were cool with earlier, before in your life, they start to pan out. It may be a dark road for you. People that you might have grown up with, people that you always hang out just to chill and just do things with, just to like waste time and things like that. You start realizing, like, if you're really not on top of your things consistently, then things will start to deteriorate. All areas of your life will start deteriorating. You'll start losing gains if you sit around all the time. The relationships you have won't be as fulfilling as they could be. your finances might take a very, very big dip. Like I said, a lot of people, you'll start outgrowing certain things that you used to do all the time. You'll start outgrowing things, and honestly, growth is the prerequisite for freedom. Because if you truly, because the goal is freedom. Because think every man and say woman loves freedom. It's human nature to love freedom. Think about it in football, like the running back. He's going through the trenches, going through the big defenders to try to get a taste of freedom. He's doing everything in his power to try to get freedom, and that takes patience. Because if he hits the hole too hard fast, someone might come up and hit him. But if he waits patiently to see a very clear hole, and then he takes the hole, and then he outruns the safety, then he basically is free, and then he's doing his dance, and he's doing his touchdown dance. So if freedom is the goal, then a lot of self-sacrifice has to be put up front if you really truly want freedom. If you truly want to live let's say financially free, freedom in your relationships, if you really want to get over somebody, maybe it's better for you to do things consistently and to go on retention, because that helps you achieve a set of freedom, a freedom-like state of mind. Because if you're consistently putting in the work, if you're consistently doing the things that you value, if you're consistently just becoming the best version of yourself, then you're no longer going to be mad or sad about the things that didn't work out in the past, and you'll live in a freedom-like state of mind, and it's just more fulfilling over the long run than just trying to get instant gratification and doing the same thing every single week. Yes, and like I said, your spiritual connection is going to be very, very high. Your spiritual connection will be very, very high. Like I said, things that you might have thought yesterday, that you were dwelling on yesterday, could come into fruition literally the next day. And I can attest that this has happened to me, where I was holding a vibration, holding a thought of something, and then it came into fruition literally the next day. This is how the world works. So I mean, the difference between someone who has everything, who has, let's say, if we want to talk about material possessions, and obviously material possessions are not everything, but this is just an example of how somebody could have, let's say, be doing so well, and their neighbor could be doing so poorly, is the type of thoughts and images they like to impress on their subconscious mind. The type of thoughts they like to think about, the type of thoughts they like to dwell about. And then whatever you impress on your subconscious mind, once your subconscious mind accepts those thoughts, they will be translated into its physical equivalent. So it would be in your best interest to think the best. If you want a nice body, think of having a nice body, and then consistently put in work. If you want to be financially free, think of how it would be like to be financially free now, and then act the part. Act like you deserve it, and then put in consistent work on things that could achieve that state of mind, that monetary side. If you want fulfilling relationships, think of how you would feel if you had a fulfilling relationship, and how you would act, and start acting from that new perspective. You will have a perspective shift on semen retention. Your paradigm will shift. And manipulating your sexual energy helps you with this, because once you manipulate your sexual energy, once you manipulate it to your advantage, meaning you're just very consistent, and you're purposeful, and you're taking a lot of action because you have a lot more energy. Over the long run, things will start to pan out, and you will become the person that you really wanted to become. But if you're constantly relapsing, constantly giving to her, and not having any energy, then you're going to be in the same spot 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. I mean, and like I said, it's everybody's life. Everybody can do whatever they want in their life. It's just that if you really wanted to have your deepest desires fulfilled, and live the most fulfilled life possible, it would be in your best interest to use semen retention to your advantage. So yeah, if that video made sense, then like the video, comment and subscribe below, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.